Hi friends, and welcome to another Tidal and Current knitting channel episode. My name is Aslyn and I am the person behind Tidal and Current. Today we are talking about my turbulent relationship with summer knits. I hope you enjoy it. I have been watching for a few months now so many amazing videos by fellow knitting YouTubers talking about spring and summer knitting, and while I have thoroughly enjoyed every single one of these videos that I've watched, and I've even been inspired to really look at my own spring and summer knitting plans, it made me realize that I personally have a very turbulent relationship with summer knitting. Despite loving the way that light knits look and a lot of the patterns out there, I took a second to fully look at all of the spring summer FOs that I have, and more than that, how many whips I still had lingering around. And spoiler alert, they're not really my favorite. A big part of my knitting goals for the year 2023 was really deciding when it's time to frog, whether that be as soon as you've cast on and you realize you don't really like the project, or almost to your cast off. It includes whips that have been sitting around for a really long time and even finished objects. So while I have been very inspired by all of the videos out there and all the mood boards and all of the plans, I think it gave me enough time to reflect, and when it comes to spring and summer knitting, I need to exercise caution and be very picky. For today's episode, I thought it would be fun to go over all of the spring summer FOs, finished objects, that I have over my knitting career and kind of decide its fate. Is it going to be frogged? Am I going to try and fix or alter it? Or am I happy with it? So I hope that you find that enjoyable. It's just gonna be me sitting, getting to show some of what I have made before making this channel and talking about reasons why some things worked and why some things didn't. I, for reference, started truly knitting in October 2020. I had learned originally when I was 8, but never committed to anything more than like a garter stitch scarf. So I truly consider October 2020 to be the beginning of my knitting career. The bulk majority of the spring summer knits I have come from that following summer, so the summer of 2021, when surprisingly, shocker, my knitting skills just were not what they are today. That happens, but I also thought that'd be fun to add a chronological order to it, just to kind of see if my opinions on the knits change with the more experience I have. So let's just jump right into it. There is a pattern that was released March 2021 that I actually got to test knit, and it was probably like my 3rd or 4th test knit ever, and it was so nice. I made it 3 separate times, all different, like across that year, but this was the original one I made, and I thought it was super cute. I love the color, and the color on me especially. Here, let me just throw it on really quick so you get the full, there it is. Yeah, it's not my favorite thing anymore. I did have a big love for this though, and since it was my first thing, like one of the first things I truly did, I think there's a lot of alterations I would make now to this specific garment. The pattern is the I'd Knit That crop top by I'd Knit That, And I think it's a great pattern. I think it's a great building block. Obviously I liked it so much, I knit it 3 times. So this one was knit using Big Twist cotton. I remember I was super stoked because it was still when I shopped for all my yarn at Joann's, and that was like everything I had came from Joann. And this was 99 cents a ball, so I think this top literally took like $2.50 to make. And as a new knitter, and especially a college student at the same time, that was amazing. I don't think that affordability with knitting or crochet or fiber arts is talked about necessarily as much as it should be. And I mean, there's really no good or bad. Like, if you love a cheap knit, you love a cheap knit. If you can only afford to knit cheaply, that's huge. But if you love your luxurious hand-dyed mohair and merino, that's also okay too. Hello, I am a yarn dyer who sells that expensive hand-dyed yarn. Like, that's fine. But especially when it comes to that being your only option, like when I found this yarn for 99 cents a ball, I went crazy. And the third one isn't it in this yarn, but this one was. And so for like $5 and the gas it took to get there, I could have fun with knitting. So I think it would be interesting to remake this pattern now. What I've come to realize is just 100% cotton blends aren't necessarily my favorite thing in the world. It stretches, it's heavy. This is the worsted weight. I think it's worsted weight, so it is a bit thicker. My body has changed a lot since I knit this, and at the time I was very comfortable with crop clothing, and these days that is not necessarily the truth. So I definitely would add length to it, because just with it hitting me like not even at the bottom of my rib cage, like quite a bit right in the diaphragm, is that what that is? That makes me think of something else. Did I use that word wrong? I need to Google it. Hold on. I used it correctly. Good news for me. But I definitely lengthen this. The pros is I love the wider ribbing. Is this 3x3? I think this is 3x3 ribbing. Maybe 2x2. I don't know, it's on me. I'm not gonna look that long to count the stitches. But as much as I've loved it, I don't necessarily think that I have love for this finished object anymore. Ooh, another thing I'll add, feeling it taking it off. I was so early in my knitting career, I didn't realize why the garter stitch strap was written like that. I'm like, I don't want garter stitch, let me just knit it, and it curls in. It's not a thick strap now because of that. So just the things you learn along the way. The second one I made, I did do the garter stitch strap. Can you see? And I did a little bit of embroidery on the front just for it to get put in the washing machine and shrink about a month after I made it. So it was short-lived, but I did love it so much. Surprisingly, I did make this one longer than the green one, and it just shrunk that much. So don't put your cotton knits in the washer. It was also made out of the Big Twist cotton. So like another $2.50 knit. It was amazing. I was living. Then the third one I knit out of Knit Picks Comfy. Pretty sure. And I had definitely, you know, I think I made this one in August 2021, so I'd been knitting for a bit longer. And I think visually, looking at all 3 of them, my stitches look the nicest in this one. However, I think my biggest turnoff for this one itself is not necessarily the color combo I chose, because I do think they look nice together, but it is the yellow. I love the idea of mustard yellow, but in actual wear, I don't think it looks good on me. Like, I know by now it is not one of my colors. Like, that yellow just, it's not a good color on me. I'm not saying this pink is much better because it's so close to my skin tone and I have a red undertone that I don't think that like necessarily looks good on me, but I think it looks better than the yellow. It's like that TikTok filter where it's like, oh, what season am I? So, you know, that's really the only thing I have to say about it. I came up with the stripe pattern and it was fun. I knit it in a super short amount of time. Since this is a different yarn though, I know I wasn't gauge swatching back then. Like, I didn't gauge swatch at all, and this is definitely a bigger gauge than the other two were. So it fits a little differently, and I think, I don't know, just something about the fit of this one never really vibed with me, even when I was wearing these a bit. Also, I'm not sure if you've noticed, but at the beginning of my knitting career, I just said, why would I weave in my ends? Like, why? You really live and learn. So that being said, with all three of these, it's just not worth it to fix. It's not really worth it for me to frog them, considering how cheap the yarn was and the fact that I probably wouldn't use the yarn these days. I've become a much more refined knitter. Not exactly true, but that's just not something I necessarily want to work with anymore. So I don't want to keep them either. I could donate them if I weaved in the ends. I would not want to donate them with all of the weaves. Why do I always want to say that? With all of the ends not weaved in. So something to sit on and ponder. This one is tiny. Maybe, I don't know. If you have any ideas of what I should do, let me know. Then moving on to a different pattern. This is the Driving Miss Daisy by Vexnot Studios. Once again, none of the ends are weaved in. And this was made using Drops Paris, a yarn of which I now despise. I got such a bad like carpet burn on my finger from knitting this. It was miserable, but it was a test knit, so I wanted to come through, and I did. I finished it. I mean, obviously not finished it well, but it was finished. I do love this color on me. It's one of my favorite colors. But between it being a super thick fabric, once again, I didn't gauge swatch back then. So it's dense. It is a dense fabric. The yarn quality isn't super great. And then my strap problem. I knit these straps so long. It was my first time doing an I-cord strap, and there's definitely issues with how I did it. Is it an I-cord strap? It might not be an I-cord strap. It might just be a knit strap that rolls in on itself. But between the strap issues, I'm trying to untie these knots that have been in here for like 2 years. And then my super wonky embroidery, it's just a no for me. Like, look at my boobs are fully out with the strap length. Like, it's ridiculous. But yeah, super cute. So I'm obviously not keeping it. I am kind of sentimental when it comes to this piece because this is the project I worked on in the U-Haul with my dad, moving back home from college. I went to college in Michigan, moved back home to Oregon, So it was a big long U-Haul trip with my dad, and I pretty much started this and finished it in that time. But I don't want to work with yarn ever again. This is in the mystery pile. It needs to go, but yeah, we're throwing them behind me. Then I think the next thing I made, if you were on knitting Instagram in that like spring of 2021, you're probably gonna recognize this pattern because it had a moment. It's a one shoulder crop top by NYC Knits. I knit it using bamboo pop. Once again, didn't gauge swatch. This surprisingly has the opposite issues that my dense fabric tank had. This fabric is too thin. Like, it's a negative ease top, and so when it's pulled to the negative ease, it became a really see-through fabric, which I personally was not about. I think it was super cute at the time, and it was definitely Instagram made me do it knit. Like, I think that's cute, and I still think that's cute. Is it something that I, knowing my own personal style, would ever wear? No. But I was influenced. This knit was 100% over the influence of it all. Like, just no doubt about it. The bind off I did super tight, and I remember, it's not because my body's changed. I remember it being this way when I finished it, but the bind off is super tight, so it like digs in to my side right there. But I do think it's a cute tank. I think you could start to see my knitting abilities progress at this one. Not by a lot, mind you. There's definitely a lot of like twisted stitches and all of that, but this one, I was gonna say the ends are weaved in. The ends are just cut shorter. They're knotted. Did I just... Yes, a mystery. I actually, feeling this, really like the feel of this fabric. I would maybe consider frogging it to use for something else. I remember this only taking one skein of the bamboo pop, so I'm not sure how practical a project at the end of this would be. Oh, maybe I can make a little like bandana with it. That might be cute, because I do love the feel of it. It feels very light, it feels very drapey, which makes sense because it's a bamboo content yarn. But I forgot how much I like this yarn. Like, it just feels really soft. So I think this is frog. I think we're in the frog section of this. Then next up, my next summer knit was the Made You Look top by Oshen Knits. I also test knit this one, and if you're around knitting Instagram in 2021, you know how iconic this knit was. Absolutely iconic. Since then, there's the Made You Look 2.0 that's been released, and of course the blouses and the dress and all of that. So it's still living its moment. It has not only had its moment, but the moment is now. I knit this out of Wool and the Gang's. Oh, are they? Yeah, they're the Happy Shiny Cotton. And it was very ambitious of me. Not really. I think definitely looking at my knitting capabilities itself, I did good. Like, my stitches are even. My twisted rib looks good. For me, what made me never wear this pattern was just my finishing work. I seam the back. This pattern has like a corset option, or you can seam it. And so I seamed it, and then part of the pattern is there's a seam here, and just the seam is so bad. It's uneven, it's lumpy, it's bumpy, it bulges right there. So that just led me to really never wear it. And also, it's cropped. My body's changed, and that's okay. You know, I used to really love cropped things. I am not in a place in my life right now where I love cropped things. Unless I'm wearing high-waisted jeans. See, there's exceptions. I'm 5'10", I'm super tall. Stomach shows already with a normal length thing. That's probably exaggerating, but if it's a longer crop, I'm okay with it. But the like full belly button showing crop, it's just not really my personal style. So I think this will be frogged. I think that there should be enough cotton here where I can do something with it. If not, maybe I can just post how many grams it is on my story. My concern with frogging this, though, is the seams, knowing there's the back seam, which is just gonna be nightmare. Oh, I didn't think about that, because I wouldn't want to have to like cut it, because then it's just gonna unravel. But that's a bridge we'll cross when we get there. And we're down to our last summer knit of 2021. I think part of what at the beginning of my knitting career made summer knits really appealing is their bite size. That's why everything's cropped, because it took less time to make it cropped than a full-length garment. I was really appealed. I was really attracted. The thought of something taking a short amount of time to knit really appealed to me, and it was very attractive. So that's why I knit a lot of tanks during that time. And that's fine. I just think because I was in a rush, I cut a few corners, and of course it was at the very beginning of my knitting journey, and just my skills weren't necessarily there, and these are all things that are okay, and I survived because of it. Like, it's fine. So moving on to my last, and it's gorgeous. Like, I remember working this up thinking, oh, this is so beautiful, which it is, except my cast on was so tight. Oh my lord. Here is another example. I think this is the back. No, this is the front. Oh boy. The straps. So long. Like, this was knit 3 strands of fingering weight cotton. It's a thick fabric. It is, by all means, a thick fabric. Oh, hello, puppy. Oh, hello. My dog is right here. You can see her little nose. Okay, I am filming. Go lay down. Go. It is a very thick fabric. Ooh, sorry about that. And the straps, super long. They are 3 needle bind off. So I could, in all reason, cut that and just rebind it off, which is definitely an option. This looks uneven to me. Yeah, it looks uneven on camera too, which I don't love. And it's just so heavy. I'm really worried that if I take it apart and reknit, it's just gonna stretch like crazy. And the cast on is so tight. I hope me trying these on have been super entertaining for you. I need a break. Actually, last year. Oh, that was it for all my 2021 spring and summer knits. Not a single keeper out of them. not a single keeper. That's okay. I hope you enjoyed that thumbnail I was trying to get. I'm probably not even going to use it after all of that. So I hope that proves my point that I have a turbulent relationship, because that's 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. 7 garments that I knit that I no longer want to see or have in my house or do anything with. Yeah. So moving to the summer 2022. Now I love this one. Looks like by 2021 I was weaving in ends. Good for me. Finally learned, except for this collar one. But this is the Florence Polo by Becs Knits, and I used it in Candy Fibers hand-dyed yarn. I actually knit this when I was super sick. It kept me company. It was great. Super cute. And this is the exception to my cropped rule, that the cast on isn't too tight. Love that. It's just a super cute knit. Like, look at that. Who is she? And you know, it is cropped. Like, I'm wearing these high-waisted shorts. It hits right at the high waist. It hits me at my natural waist, which, you know, when I'm wearing jeans, it works. It's fine. I'm content with this level of a crop. But this was so enjoyable to make. Rebecca is a super talented knitwear designer. I highly recommend all of her designs. I've test knit 2 of them. Yes, 2 of them. And just, they're incredible. This is one of my favorite knits of all time. I think it looks stunning. I really love it. Nothing but good things to say about this one. Do think it's interesting though how it's not a tank. It's a short sleeved. Just the only thing I'd say about this is my fabric choice. I knit this in a superwash merino wool, which for where I live, it's fine. But definitely going forward, an issue I have with spring and summer knits is wool is too hot and I don't like cotton on its own. So maybe it's my goal this summer to find the perfect summer yarn. Then that brings us to 2023. This was the only one I made in 2022. So now we are to current, and I forgot one. I'm gonna be right back. I'm back. I realized I had forgot my vacation vest by Park and Knit that I test knit just recently. And this is totally a summer knit. I love the yarn. I love just the throw over wearability of it. I haven't blocked it yet. That still needs to happen. And I still need to resew my clasps in. If you watched my very first knitting podcast episode, you would have heard me talk about this. If you want to hear more about it, watch it. So I'm just pleased. I am pleased. Then the other thing I knit this year, I'm also very pleased with. I still need to take photos and post this on my Instagram. But it is my Capricorn Sun crop top by Disco Stitch. I knit this using my own hand-dyed yarn. Gonna tout that, and it's just, I really took my time with it. I gauge swatched. I love it. Love it, love it, love it, love it, love it. And it is cropped. But once again, it's one of those crops where it hits me more at my natural waist instead of above my natural waist, and kind of knitted to a length for a specific pair of denim shorts I own. So it has a plan. I'm gonna take it off. So all in all, I think that in past 2 years, as I've been knitting more and getting more experience, I've kind of learned the things that I know I like and the things I'm starting to learn I don't like. and that's just part of the journey in my mind. I know that just wearing knits in general is a very difficult thing for me, not necessarily because it's hard, but just when I go over how much time I put into something, it makes me want to put it up on a shelf and never touch it because I don't want to ruin it. I know a lot of people are very driven when it comes to knitting about the actual end result and having a wearable garment. I'm just gonna be frank, I don't think I wear my garments like at all. It's something I want to get better about. It's something I need to get better about. And that kind of leads me into my end discussion here is I will not be summer knitting this year. I just don't really see it in the cards for me at all. I think I want to spend the summer months really investing my time into a sweater or two that will get lots of love in the fall or winter, because it is a goal of mine to start wearing my knits more. And if you thought my summer knits were a hot mess, you're absolutely right. I mean, here I have, what did I say, 7 for the first year and 3, so out of 10 knits, 7 of them are absolute garbage in my mind, stuff I'm not gonna wear. That's only a 30% success rate, and going forward, knowing summer knits statistically only have a 30% success rate in my mind just doesn't make it worth it to me. Sweaters take a lot longer, and so I don't have as many of them, I think, as the summer knits I have here. So I think I would just like to invest my time into knitting another sweater or two, and hopefully by the time fall starts rolling around, instead of being like, oh my gosh, I want a new sweater, and like casting it on then, I'll have one ready to go. So that will be a lot of fun. Anyways, if you have made it to the end of this video, let me know which was your favorite. Let me know your thoughts on summer knitting, and if you have any summer knit plans. I hope you enjoyed this video. I know it's different than a normal podcast, but it's stuff that has been floating around in my brain and that I have wanted to talk about. I thought it was kind of interesting. I hope you did too. If you liked this video, please be sure and like it. If you liked me, please be sure and subscribe for more knitting content. And as always, you can find me on my Instagram, tidal.and.current, and you can find my hand-dyed yarn on tidal.and.current.com. I hope you have a great day. I hope you are knitting or crocheting or bunching, hole punching. I think that's the term for it. Or I hope you're just enjoying whatever craft you're doing right now, and hope you have a great day. Bye.